Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto News Podcast. It's your host, Matt Zahab. We are buzzing as always, my friends. And today, I am super pumped to have Josh Fraser on the show today, coming in hot from the one and only, the best city in the world, not up for discussion, New York City. He's the co-founder of Origin Protocol. Prior to Origin, he co-founded 3 other venture-backed companies, EventVue, Torbit, which was acquired by Walmart Labs, and Forage. Josh started coding at the age of 10. Holy, I wish my parents got me into coding at the age of 10. Instead, I was playing hockey and getting, and crushing kids and getting crushed. Different story, another day. Josh, super pumped to have you on, my friend. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, Matt.
Pumped to have you on, my friend. Pumped to have you on. You started coding at the age of 10. That's sort of bananas. I mean, like that seems like just a nice little layup for me to throw at you right away. Like, was that just your own curiosity? Was that parents, diving in as well, being like, start coding? That's something I wish I did. When I was 10 years old, I was playing like RuneScape and like maybe just started to figure out that like girls were beautiful creatures and, message them on MSN. Remember the MSN days?
I do.
Wild.
Yeah, my dad bought me an Apple IIe computer and a programming book. And I would sit there for hours just typing programs in from this book into the computer and hoping, you don't have any typos, or else you gotta, nothing will work and you have to go through and figure out what you did wrong. But I started with that, just playing, creating these games, little Pong games and stuff like that. And then you start playing with the variables, making the Pong go faster and adding blocks and removing blocks. And it's just a lot of fun. And I've been addicted to computers ever since. But I spent plenty of time getting in trouble in the woods and playing sports and doing other things.
I love it. Hey, shout out Mr. Fraser for getting you coding at age 10.
Absolutely.
What a move. Wow. What a move. If my dad's listening to this, I'm gonna give him shit after this. Be like, Dad, why didn't you teach me how to code? Well, my old man doesn't know how to code either. So he's great with computers, just not a coder. I mean, most people aren't, but c'est la vie. Let's jump into life before crypto. Founded 3 venture-backed companies, EventVue, Torbit, and Forage. As we don't have time to jump into all 3 of these, and as this is a crypto pod, maybe pick 1 or 2 if you can do all 3 quickly, lovely. But give us the TLDR, what happened, sort of what was good with those companies, why you founded them, what happened when they got acquired, blah, blah, blah. And definitely talk about the Torbit one as it did get acquired by Walmart Labs.
Sure.
That must have been a pretty friggin' awesome moment for you, your team, and your fam.
Yeah, so starting with EventVue, started that straight out of college. And the idea was to help people meet and network at conferences. So people go to conferences. We go to crypto conferences all the time. One of the top reasons we go is to mingle and network with other people. So most of the time you're flying blind. And you've got to be like pinging people. Hey, are you going to this thing? Are you going to be in town? It's a lot of manual work. This would create this ephemeral community, social network around the event. You could see everyone else who is going. You could send them messages. You could schedule meetings with them. And so that was the idea with EventVue. We got accepted into Techstars, it was an accelerator program. And, it was the very first inaugural year of Techstars out of Boulder, and learned a lot about entrepreneurship from that company. Even though it didn't work out in the end, I really built my network and learned a lot about what it means to start a company. And I was an engineer, so all of the business, all the things related to running a business were all new to me. And so it was like a crash course in how to build a business. After that, I went and started a second company called Torbit. And the idea there was to make websites load faster. And so this was one of the things I'd run into trying to scale EventVue, was all these performance issues. People were complaining the site's slow. And as I started learning more about it, I started learning that performance is one of these things that really hurts revenue for a lot of companies, particularly if you're an e-commerce site. Every second that it takes your website to load, you're losing sales. And we were able to see that pretty clearly in the data. And so we started building tools that would auto-magically speed up your website. And so it would do things like resize the images. So if you're on a slow connection or a mobile device, it would send you smaller images. It would cache it, put it on a CDN. If you had lots of files, it would combine them. So your JavaScript would be combined, your CSS would be combined.
Love that.
The top of it, we do stuff like, intelligently preload the top of the page, and then all the bottom of the page can lazy load afterwards. And
Yeah.
it all did this all automatically. So you didn't have to do anything at all. You just change your DNS. We'd sit in front of your site and magically make it load faster. And one feature we had that was killer for internet retailers was we had this JavaScript widget that would tell you how much money you were losing for every second it took your website to load. And so we just hook into your checkout process and show you. And it was very, very compelling way to sell our product.
You got to show them the pain point. You guys, like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that's the best kind of sales, when you don't have to like pitch them, when they just be like, yo, I'm getting, pardon my French, I'm getting fucked. I need your solution. Like that's brilliant. Kudos to you.
So we worked with most of the internet retailers, top 500 internet retailers, from Amazon all the way down, Microsoft, Intel, Johnson & Johnson, US Auto Parts, Wayfair, Cafe Press. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all these internet retailers that were using us. And then ultimately that company ended up being acquired by Walmart, that were really wanting to step up the game and compete better with Amazon online. And of course, performance is one of the key differentiators there for users. And then after that, I started Forage, which was a food delivery company. We put all the ingredients you need in the box for you to cook dinner on your own. So a little bit like Plated and Blue Apron, if you're familiar with that model.
Yeah.
Tough business from a operations standpoint. Food is perishable, shipping
food industry is a nightmare. Yeah.
I learned a lot. Learned a lot about the type of business I don't want to run. But still a pretty cool experience. Learned a little bit about how to cook, which was great. And and then from there, started building some other stuff just for fun, and that led me to Origin, which I've been working on ever since.
So cool. We'll get into Origin in one sec. The food industry, just as a little side note, got to be one of the biggest nightmares, right? It's funny how all the industries where your total addressable market, like your TAM, is just absolutely massive because everyone needs to eat, right? Any of the industries like that, toilet paper, I don't know, sleeping, shoes, like anything that people have every single day is always impossible to break into. It's so difficult. I know a guy in Toronto who just throws up restaurants. He's, president of a big food group. I don't know about all in the world, but in Toronto, 3% success rate of restaurants. Bananas.
Yeah.
Don't go in the food industry.
Yeah, it's like a confluence of really bad factors, right? Terrible margins, very, very slim margins, perishability, unavailability. You're working with, minimum wage workers who are constantly not showing up or running into problems with immigration or whatever. Shipping issues, perishability, stuff going bad, people getting sick. I mean, it's just never ending as far as the stuff you have to worry about.
Yeah, and unless you could sell booze like in your food packs, like that's all the margin. That's where all the margins are, right? Yeah, right. Get people in the door with the food and then soak them on the booze. A tale as old as time. And then why the move from Web 2 to Web 3? Well, I guess we'll make this a 2-for-1 pizza special here. Why the move from Web 2 to Web 3? Always super curious about that. And when you talk about that, give us the pitch for Origin as well.
Sure. So I discovered Bitcoin really early. I read I think it was on Dig, maybe Hacker News. I saw the original Bitcoin white paper, and it was just really, really interesting to me as an idea.
How early?
So
How early here, Josh?
2010.
Holy crap. Did you save it all from when you bought it?
Bitcoin, well, so it wasn't, you couldn't buy it at that point. 2010, Coinbase hadn't launched yet. There was no exchange to buy it on. Your only way to get it, well, there's some faucets. You click a button and send you a free Bitcoin. And then you can mine it. So I mined, I was able to, download some software, run it on my computer for 7 hours, and I got, my first 50 Bitcoin block reward for doing that. There was like smoke coming out of my laptop, right? It was like I couldn't get any other work done. So I was like, all right, this is cool, but I don't know.
It was cooking.
I don't know what these Bitcoins are. All I know is this makes my laptop overheat and I can't get anything done. So turned that off and went back to doing real work, much to my chagrin. But then fast forward 2017, my co-founder today, Matt Liu, kept talking to me about Ethereum. He's like, you have to get into Ethereum, you have to get into Ethereum. And I hadn't really paid a whole lot of attention to crypto since 2010, but he was very persistent. I read the Ethereum white paper, and at that point I was like, okay, this is really, really exciting. I don't know what we're going to do with this, but this changes everything. The whole idea of trustless computing is such a game changer. And so we started off, just playing in the space. I started trading some crypto, building some smart contracts just to see what was possible and what actually made sense. And as we started building more, I became more and more convinced that this was revolutionary technology that I wanted to dedicate the next, few years or decades of my life working on.
Yeah.
And so we wrote, a lot of different ideas on the board, and then we circled the craziest, most audacious one of all, which was what eventually became Origin.
I love it. Well, give me the pitch here. Walk us through. And again, I always shout out whenever I have guests on the show. Of course, I've been on their website 6 million times while doing research. You guys have one of the cleanest websites out there. It's stupidly clean, and I love that. I'll just read the header for everyone. But you go to the website, again, super clean, super slick, super sexy. Origin, earn more with ETH. Origin's flagship products are taking the fastest growing verticals in crypto to prompts, NFTs, and DeFi. The one thing, and again, I want you to give the whole elevator pitch, of course, but the one thing that I'd really love to explain is the difference between Origin Dollar, which is the yield generating stablecoin, and Origin Ether, which is the Ethereum liquid staking made simple. This is a question, Josh, that I get asked all the time. Matt, from my normie friends, Matty Boy, Z, whatever they call me. How do I get involved in liquid stake, and how can I get a little bit more, yield? How can I get a superior yield to traditional staking methods? I explain to them what it is. I explain to them how they can take advantage and, actually do this. And they're like, it's too complicated. It's probably on me. I need to do a better job of explaining. So when they ask me next time, I'm going to say, go to episode, 339? Go to episode 339 with Josh Fraser and take a listen to the 13-minute and 30-second mark. And now I'm going to throw the ball over to your court. Give us the elevator pitch on Origin and explain the differences between those two. I would absolutely love that.
So what about Origin is all about giving you better yields everywhere. No matter where you live, no matter which chain you're on, we want to give you better yields. And also no matter which asset you want to use. And the two biggest assets that people want to earn yield on are Ethereum and stable coins. And so whichever one you prefer, we have a product for you to earn. So if you want to earn yield on your stables, Origin Dollar or USD is the token for you. We take in Tether, USDC, DAI. This is all permissionless, so you're talking to a smart contract. There's no counterparty risk. But then that is deployed into DeFi to earn a yield, and then all that yield automatically accrues right there in your wallet. So there's no staking, there's no unstaking, there's no harvesting of rewards. You just hold it and watch your balance go up. It's really the easiest, most elegant way to earn in DeFi. And then for Ethereum, and this is a product that's doing the best right now, Origin Ether is just a liquid staking token. So similar to Lido or Rocketpool, ETH, this is you're taking your ETH to help secure the Ethereum network. And it does a couple things beyond just securing the network and earning that yield from doing that. First of all, it's fully liquid. So when you stake with Origin Ether, you get back a token that represents your stake. And so that allows you to go and use it in other places in DeFi. So instead of it being locked up forever, now you have something that's liquid. You can transfer around. You can use it in other places. Second advantage you have with Origin Ether is just superior yields. It's always higher than what you'd get with Lido or Rocketpool or any other competing LSTs. And we can get into the details on why that is. But just as an example, on Lido today, you can get 2.9% APY, and OETH is 3.96 APY. So quite a significant difference there. And that has always been true. It's always been able to deliver superior yields because of the design of Origin Ether and some of the tricks we have there. And then finally, one thing that a lot of people don't consider when they're getting into an LST is how tightly it's pegged with ETH, and specifically how easy it is to get back out. And I've made this mistake countless times in DeFi myself.
Love this.
Because you come in, you see some big, compelling APY number, and you get excited, you come in, and then when you want to get out, you go and you look, and it's like, oh, I'm going to take a massive haircut on, because it's depegged, right? It's trading below 1-to-1. And there's this massive hidden exit fee that you have to pay. And a lot of people don't pay attention to that, and a lot of people get wrecked. Where when they actually do the math afterwards, maybe they haven't made any money at all. Maybe they've even lost money because they haven't stayed in the pool long enough. And especially when you're playing with, relatively small APYs like this, if you have to take a 25 bips or 50 bips haircut on the way out, and you've only stayed in the pool for a couple of weeks, you're almost certainly down.
You're underwater, 100%.
On that. And so that's something that we are working on as well. We want it to be 1-to-1 pegged and instantly redeemable, so you can get out on a 1-to-1 basis anytime you want. We'll get into exactly how we are able to do that. And of course, this is all permissionless. There is no counterparty risk. You're talking to smart contracts. You don't have to trust us. You don't have to trust our team. You just have to trust the code and how that works. And then another big area that we're focusing on is moving multi-chain. Gas on Ethereum is quite prohibitive for a lot of people. And there's also a lot of really enticing yield opportunities on other chains and layer 2s. And so big push for us this year is expanding from mainnet to Arbitrum, and then later on Base and Optimism as well.
Great explainer there. I've heard this a couple times. I actually heard this a couple times in Dubai as well. The future of yield is multi-chain. A lot of people, because right now it's like, if you really, really want to get some darn good deal, just like you said, you pretty much got to be Ether stables. Like they're really, again, this is a me problem. I haven't done enough research, but like I'm not fully cognizant of crazy high and reputable yields on a lot of the other chains where everyone knows the big dogs you can go to for anything stablecoin or Ether related. Literally every episode I've recorded interoperability, scalability, modularity. It can't just be one chain. It's going to be similar to apps on the internet, to websites on the internet. This whole sort of, herd/tribe of, it's this L1 versus that L1. Everyone's going to be on one L1. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be hundreds of million users on one chain, hundreds of million users on another chain, so on and so forth. So we got to make sure that we can talk to each other here, if you're a chain maxi. But really interesting point you brought up. I'd love to go back to one quick thing, just to give a little sort of primer for the listeners. If you could explain the big differences between traditional staking and liquid staking.
Yeah, so if you want to stake on your own, you can spin up an Ethereum validator, and you have to put up 32 ETH to run a validator. And when you do that, your ETH gets locked on that validator and you can't use it. You can't do anything with it. Now, it's earning yield. You get rewards for doing that as you're verifying blocks on the Ethereum network. You'll be rewarded with the fees that are generated from generating that block. So this was a big shift when Ethereum moved from proof of work, like Bitcoin, to proof of stake. And so we're not wasting as much electricity solving these endless math problems. Instead, validators are randomly selected to verify the transactions. And then the 32 ETH that you put up is collateral to make sure that you're not signing anything that you shouldn't. Now, this comes with a couple downsides and a couple challenges. Not everyone has 32 ETH to put up. Some people want to put up, half an ETH or 2 ETH, right? Other times people want to put up more than that, but maybe not quite, enough to get to 10 validators, right? So what people like Lido and ETH do is they basically allow you to pool your resources for these validators. And then what you get in exchange is an IOU token. So you get a tradable token that is fully liquid. So no matter how much ETH you deposit, you'll get an equal number of OETH back that you can then go and you can use. So it's always redeemable for the underlying ETH. Now, behind the scenes, it's getting chunked up into 32 ETH chunks, and it's actually getting deployed onto validators. But we take care of all of that overhead for you. You don't have to worry about it. And then all of that yield, as it comes back, you don't have to do anything to claim it or harvest it. You don't have to do anything at all. You just hold it in your wallet, and your balance will automatically increase right there in your wallet. So you know exactly at all times, exactly how much you have, and it's just a really easy way to tap into that risk-free yield that's available from the Ethereum network.
I love that. Well said. Very well said. Josh, quick break. Huge shout out to Prime XBT. And when we get back, we are going to keep jumping into everything related to DeFi, token mergers, a little bit of ARM, automated redemption managers, a little bit more staking, and some transparency and integrity, volatility, and crypto. Until then, huge shout out to Prime XBT, longtime friends of cryptonews.com and longtime sponsors of the Crypto News podcast. Prime XBT offers a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet. You can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. Prime XBT is also offering an exclusive promo for listeners of the Crypto News podcast. The promo code is CryptoNews50. That is CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Again, that is CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. And now back to the show with Josh. We have to get into automated redemption manager. This is something that, again, oftentimes in life, we're a little hard on ourselves, and I was like, how the hell did you not know what this was? Like, I know I've seen this before, definitely come across, but I never took a good deep dive until, last week. And I was like, Josh is coming on, let's prep for the show, get ducks in a row. And then I'm like, holy shit, this is super cool, super interesting. Automated redemption managers, enabling new use cases across between an AMM and an isolated money market. So freaking cool. You got to give a more in-depth explanation of what exactly this is and why it's so useful to not only you and the team, but also to, of course, your customers as well.
Sure. Yeah. So ARM, there isn't much out there about it yet, but we built this towards the end of last year, deployed it on mainnet, and without any front end, we didn't put up any blog posts, we didn't tweet about it, we just put it up. And the only people we told about it, we just want to test some ideas and see if we were right. And so the only people we told about it were 1inch and CalSwap. And we said, hey, here's a liquidity pool that you can tap into and use it if it's useful. And within a couple of months, we had done well over $100 million of trading volume on this pool. And it was a single pool between stake ETH and ETH. And we just wanted to test this theory. And the theory was that AMMs are not pricing LSTs correctly. And so a little bit of a reminder on kind of how AMMs work. Typically, you have a bonding curve, and you have the price is determined by the quantity of assets on both sides. So as people take, for example, the ETH on one side, then it changes the price, right? So if you're trading ETH for staked ETH, the price will go down, and then, if you go the other direction, it'll go up, right? And so this works remarkably well. But we had this idea that perhaps that's not the best way to price LSTs. In fact, not just LSTs, but all redeemable assets. So you can think of LSTs, LRTs, you can think of these, tokenized treasuries, anything that you can come in an async process, ask for your ETH back in a set number of days. And so if you think about something like OETH, if you want to convert your OETH to ETH, well, you can actually redeem it with the validators, right? And so the way Ethereum works is this validator queue, and it might take, minimum 27 hours. And then it depends kind of how many people are trying to exit at the same time, how long it will take. Could be, one day, it could be, multiple days. But that's probably, our hunch was that's a better way to price how, what it should cost for swapping out of OETH or staked ETH or any other LST. Question is, how many days am I sort of sitting out of a market? How many days do I need to borrow ETH for? Because that's essentially the other way of thinking about it is, this is a loan. I'll give you some OETH. You get your ETH right away, and you pay for the amount of time it takes to actually get the loan repaid, so to speak, right? So it's just a completely different way of thinking about how to price these assets. And instead of with a bonding curve, is the price is getting pushed around constantly based on how people are trading. So if there are a lot of people getting liquidated at one point, the price will get really pushed down. If there's a lot of buying pressure, the price might, be floating above peg. And so, we thought, well, this is just a different way of pricing it. And we saw quite a big arbitrage opportunity. When you actually look at what it costs to borrow ETH on places like Aave or Compound, these decentralized lending markets, the price for borrowing ETH was like less than a BIP a day, right? Whereas most of these LSTs are trading at 7 or 8 times that as far as how much they were depegged. And so we saw this huge arbitrage opportunity between these two. Say, hey, why don't we just try this out? And why don't we see if we can use this alternate pricing mechanism? There is no bonding curve. The way the pricing is set is based on how long is it going to take us to get our ETH back. So when you give us LSTs, we'll enter it into the exit queue for you, and we'll give you the ETH right away. And so that way we're constantly cycling the capital, but it goes both ways. So sometimes we can trade back and forth multiple times without having to even go into the exit queue. And so this turned out to be quite profitable as well. It's been earning pretty generous APY on this tool, and it gives people just a much better pricing for getting out. The other day we saw someone swap $1.4 million of SIGT for ETH, and it only cost them $800 of fees. Whereas on
that's insane.
On Uniswap, this was a 5-figure fee with taking slippage into consideration. So pretty huge advantage there. And then ARM, the automated redemption manager, is also going to be the key for how we're able to guarantee one-to-one redemptions for OETH. And so this is going to be the way we're going to be able to honor that. If you want to swap your OETH out for ETH, we'll do it on a one-to-one basis. And to make sure that OETH is, the number one most compelling choice for you, we're going to waive all fees. So we're not going to have any fees on that whatsoever. So we're going to be the only LST you'll be able to get into and out of on a one-to-one basis without having to worry about any slippage whatsoever, no matter how large that trade is.
I love it. Josh, we're a little tight for time. A couple more questions and we will wrap up here, mates. The DeFi, a couple I'm just going to tie into a whole. You've been big in crypto for quite some time. You guys are pioneers in the DeFi industry. You've seen all of the transparency and integrity issues, and you've seen the volatility as well. I'd love if you could tie all this in to more specifically the DeFi industry, the staking industry. Talk about where you think it's going, maybe some of the shit you've seen in the past, and any hot takes or predictions of of where you think that DeFi as a whole is going over the next couple months, years, so on and so forth.
You hit on it a little bit. The big shift for us and big focus for us is expansion to layer 2. We were really honored to get a grant from Arbitrum. So we got 185,000 ARB that have been given to us by the Arbitrum Foundation. And that's going to be used to help us grow on their ecosystem. Wrapped OETH is already live on Gyroscope and Ramses on Arbitrum with great rewards there. And we see this being where not only OETH is going, but a lot of DeFi is shifting over to these layer 2s. We're seeing a lot of activity on Arbitrum, seeing a lot of activity on Base and Optimism as well. And this, I think is an inevitable shift. One is for the savings on gas. Right? I think we've all spent an absolute fortune on gas on mainnet. And so that's definitely a big factor. And then, being honest about it, there's a lot of new incentives that are coming from these other chains. And so that is also an opportunity for people to earn extra yield as well. And so that's really the area we're most excited right now, is how we can tap into that extra yield. And of course, all of that is passed on to our holders of Origin Dollar and Origin Ether, as well as the holders of our governance token. There's a performance fee, and all of that goes to reward OGN holders. So there's a great opportunity there for people to stake their OGN and then be able to earn that yield that is generated from this product as well. So multiple ways to get involved and participate in all of the yield that's available, both on mainnet and increasingly on layer 2s as well.
So cool. Josh, appreciate your time, my man. This was a lot of fun. Hope to meet you in person one day and can't wait for round 2. Until then, wishing you and the team all the best. Before you let us go, can you please let our listeners know where they can find you personally and Origin Protocol online and on socials?
So I am Josh Fraser, pretty much everywhere on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Telegram. You can find me there. It's just my name. And then Origin Protocol, same thing. We are everywhere just with the handle Origin Protocol. and look forward to seeing you online.
Amazing. Josh, thanks again, mate. Much appreciated. One last thing before you go. I just checked the sheet. I believe you were episode number 339. Do you know how many Joshes I've had on the podcast? Do you know what number Josh you are on the pod? I would have never thought it was this high.
I'm going to go with 15.
Number 7. Even 7. Like, what are the odds, though?
Seven still a lot.
It is, though. 7 and 300, and we'll just round down, call it 330. 7 and 330? That's like, it's a decent amount,
you know? That is a lot.
Of all the names, and like Josh isn't as popular as Matt or Matthew. Like the name Matthew's the worst because there's friggin' 6 trillion of us. But like Josh, that's at least a good solid, non-saint name. So,
well, you can give your parents a hard time for not getting into programming early, and I'll give my parents a hard time for not being more creative with their naming.
I love it. Appreciate it, man. Amazing. As always, we'll include everything in the notes, but Josh, really appreciate it, and wishing you and the team all the best. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you.
Folks, what an episode with Josh Fraser, co-founder of Origin Protocol. We discussed a little bit of everything: liquid staking, getting better yields in crypto, the future of DeFi, some ARM, you name it, we jumped into it. Absolutely love to see that. Huge shout out to Josh and the team for making this happen. If you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope you did, please do subscribe to my team and I, to the podcast rather. But speaking of the team, which is what I meant to say, you guys are the best. Thank you for everything, as always, especially you, Stas, the best editor in the world. You are the GOAT. Appreciate you, my man. Love you as always. And back to the listeners. Thanks, guys. Keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Bye for now, and we'll talk soon. See you on the next episode. Ciao.